Alright, hello everyone, once again, I am sloaters27. I just did a any percent run for you guys, and now we're going to do a Super Metroid 100% run, the exact opposite. Let's just jump right into it. So, again, like most of the categories in this game, we're going to skip the intro cutscene, and our save file will just start right here at Ceres Station. Nothing out of the ordinary here. If you did catch the any percent run, the first 6 minutes or so are going to look pretty much identical. I'm going to be doing some slightly different things once we, get to some of the items I need to pick up. And also the route will change a bit later on with the boss order. But yeah, the same deal again. We're going to damage ourselves down against Ridley to hear that beeping. And we can start the self-destruct sequence on Ceres Station. On back through these rooms, gonna be a bit of RNG with some steam popping up, some tiles falling from the ceiling. But we can get through okay. We didn't hit any that time. And we're out with another 45. I think we got 45s both times. Good stuff. So I'll talk a little bit about 100%. By 100% we mean item collection. So there are 100 total items in the game, between Samus's suit upgrades and all our other big power-ups, as well as all the ammunition, so the regular missiles, super missiles, power bombs. So we need to, again, beat the game with no major glitches, beat all the G4 bosses and Mother Brain, and also pick up all those items. So it's a very challenging category. Even the best time is over 70 minutes. So there's a lot of gameplay and there's a lot of really difficult strategies. Given that you're picking up all the items and visiting most of the rooms in the game. But yeah, it should be a good time. Two for two on Pitless. And again, a lot of this will look the same. We're going to pick up the Morph Ball and our first missile pack down here. There are some more ammo packs over on the right side of Retro Brinstar, but it's going to be a lot faster for us to come through here later on in the run when we have some more equipment. It'll actually be one of the last set of items we pick up, as a matter of fact. But anyways, got our Morph Ball, got our first missile pack. Planet will be awake once we go back up the elevator, and we'll have to deal with some enemies as we work our way towards Bomb Chorizo. Wonderful, didn't fall in a single pit tonight. Oh no. Yeah, this room really hurts to take a fall. Oh man. Also really hurts to miss shots like that. I said it in the last run, but a lot of these early rooms are actually pretty difficult to execute correctly. There's a lot of platforming on early on in these rooms. But nevertheless, we've made it to Bomb Chorizo. Gonna get our morph ball bombs, but we will have to do a little mini boss. Gonna line up in a very specific position to force Bomb Chorizo to jump back immediately after he awakens. Fortunately, I took all the ammo in one go, so I wasn't able to do a super quick kill on him. Still relatively quick, but we're looking good. We got full energy, full missiles. And this is actually going to be our first diversion from the any percent run I just did. In any percent, I missiled these enemies to conserve on health, but I'm going to be fighting Kraid first, and conserving energy is not very important for Kraid, so I'm just going to run through those pirates and save a little bit of time. And also I won't have to farm the Zeelas in this next room to get missiles, to get my early super pack. So I'm going to weave through these guys, use my missiles to get through this pink door, do a mock ball, little sequence break, and I almost almost went into any percent muscle memory mode, but this is where things are going to get different. I'm going to deboost off of this guy, come back over here, use my supers to get in this room, and we got some goodies over here. First I'm going to grab this missile pack. There's another missile pack hidden behind these blocks, so I'm going to use my bombs and pea shooter to reveal those and grab them. We're also going to pick up the first reserve tank, one of 4. Reserve tanks are similar to energy tanks, but you have to manually fill them up by grabbing drops from enemies or by refilling at your ship. And hopefully I can get this trick. Nice. That mock ball is pretty difficult to pull off. It saves a lot of time though. If you miss it, you have to go back up over where the super missile pack was and fall through the crumble blocks there and run back to grab that missile pack, so good thing we got that. And now I'm going to do something kind of unusual that you probably wouldn't think I'm going to do. But there's a missile pack here over by the charge beam that I'm actually not going to grab right now. Which you might think is weird, because you know I'm supposed to grab all the items. But I need to come back here later to grab the waterway E-tank, which is underneath charge beam. And it's a little faster to grab that missile pack when I'm doing this later. As I'll be able to use power bombs to break the bomb blocks and pick up the missile pack while I wait for the explosion. So a tiny little optimization there, but they really all add up in this category. Oh, that missed. So again, gonna be going down Red Tower because we're gonna fight Kraid first this time. We're also going to pick up the spacer beam again. Widens your beam shots, adds a little bit of extra damage, but it is 100%, so we need to grab it, even though we will be getting plasma beam later, which will replace it. But spacer will help out a little bit until we get plasma. there's some strategies that'll definitely be useful for. I'm gonna try to do a little quick entrance here. There we go. There is a missile pack in this room that we cannot get without power bombs. So I'm gonna have to come back here later when I do have power bombs. An option you can do in this run is to actually grab the red tower power bombs early, and then you can do this whole section in one go. But it's a little bit out of the way to grab those power bombs. As far as I know, the difference in time between those two routes is like only a couple seconds. So it's more or less runner's preference what they want to do. We're doing another... I probably should have done that. We're gonna do the Kraid quick kill again by shooting my super missile in Kraid's mouth at a very specific part of his mouth opening animation. It'll freeze him in place, and with more supers it'll actually kill him before entering his second phase. And I'm rewarded with the Various suit. I didn't really talk about Various suit in the last run because it wasn't very important, but without having the gravity suit, Various suit's going to be very helpful for us. It'll let us traverse through heated rooms without taking damage, and also give us some damage reduction. Not as good as the gravity suit, but better than our yellow power suit. This is one of those rooms where you need to kill all the enemies to open the door. I'm gonna hopefully use that bomb. There we go. Kill those B-toms. They're kind of a pain to kill. You either have to use a bomb like that or missile them when they're on top of you, which is kind of awkward to menu and do. But that is Kraid's area for now. As I said, we're gonna have to come back there later with power bombs, but that won't be for a while. But our next boss we're gonna fight is Phantoon, and you might be saying, well, if you're gonna fight Phantoon next, why are we going down here? The reason being to get all the items in the wrecked ship area. Oops, I want to shoot that. I'm gonna need Speed Booster, which is down here in Norfair. So we're just gonna do some item collection. Grab some of these major items, the high jump boots, Speed Booster, and Wave Beam, and then we'll work our way back up to the wreck ship. And I'm also gonna fight Crocomire, forgot about that. I didn't really talk about this yet, but there's kind of two main 100% routes. One where you fight Crocomire very early on, and one where you fight him much later. I'm doing the one where you fight him early on, which is a bit slower, but it does give you access to the grapple beam very early on and opens up an opportunity for different strategies across the run. And this is the real challenge of 100%, is remembering to grab missiles like these. It's very easy when you don't run a lot of 100% to sort of switch into any percent muscle memory mode and just like, you know, go past all these random obscure missile packs like that. So we're 1 for 1 on those so far, which is pretty good. Oh no. This is a really cool strat. Using a charge shot to kill that cack attack at the top of the room before you even get up there. That cack attack can really troll you and fire just as you're wall jumping up there and knock you down to the bottom of the room. Here's another one of those missile packs, very easy to forget. And our speed booster. Speed booster is going to increase our running speed by quite a bit. It'll also give us the ability to break speed blocks. As I mentioned, it's going to be very useful in Wreck Ship to collect all the items. And we can start shine sparking, which is great. 4 is fine. We'll go with 4 supers. Early on in the run, there's a lot of pink and green doors you need to open, and also just other reasons you need supers, like the Crocomire fight. So until I, find a lot more super packs, that's sort of the one piece of ammo I'm gonna have to be very conscious of and make sure I have enough of it when I get to certain areas. Unfortunately, most of the super packs are locked behind power bombs or are just generally kind of deep into the game, so there's not going to be a lot of them for a while. Oops. So that's all the items we're going to get for now. Obviously there's a missile pack right there that I didn't grab. But some of these items will be a little faster to get later when we have more movement abilities, because we will be back down here to fight Ridley later on. But for now, we're going to go to our old friend Crocomire. Unfortunately, fighting Crocomire early on like this without the plasma beam is going to make this a very RNG heavy fight. Basically, Crocomire can either do a swoop attack, or he has the option, he has the option to do that attack where he'll just kind of like stand in place for a second and then start shooting those balls out. I don't want him to do that. I'd rather him just open his mouth immediately and try to charge at me. So unfortunately there is some RNG to this fight, whereas if you have charge and plasma, you can just do one charge shot on him and the fight's over pretty much. If you listen carefully there, you might have heard the sound of a door opening. It's hard to explain, but basically I did a charge shot and it traveled out of bounds somewhere that hit a door in a copy of this room, something with the game's memory or something. I'm sure there's some smart people in chat that could explain it better. But essentially I opened up the door on the left side of the room that we have not seen yet. And, oh wow, there's a super. And I can just spark right through it without having to open it first, which is great. And we are rewarded with our first power bomb pack, so a lot of the map is now open to us. There's a lot of blocks that you need power bombs to break open that have hidden items in them, and also any yellow doors will be able to open up. But as I said, we're going to grab the grapple beam while we're down here, which is coming up right here, and there's a really cool strat we're going to do with it too, called Indiana Jones. Hopefully I can do this. Wonderful. See, in the other route, you don't have to do that since you have space jump when you get here. So, you know what? Why should you fight Croc late? You don't get to do cool strats like that. That's why I fight him early, at least. And you'll see some other cool applications of grapple throughout the run, like this room has a really cool grapple thing going on. You see I shot those bugs that came up out of there. And I'll actually use my grapple to farm them on the way out, just like that. Ooh, no supers, unfortunately. Like I said, I'm kind of hurting for supers this early in the run, just because there's not really many packs available. So I'm actually gonna farm a little bit. Give it one more. Okay, that's good. Oops. And you get to do cute little farms like that too with the grapple beam. Ooh, I could have made that, but there's a lot of scary jumps like that where you need to grapple off something, and if you know you let go at the wrong time, you fall at the bottom of a very tall room. But that is Norfair for now. We'll come back down here later after we finish the wrecked ship and Meridia. Take care of Ridley and clean up the rest of the items, but we have everything we need to get through wrecked ship, so that's where we're going next. Red Tower is a very cool room in categories like this, where you fight Kraid and then Phantoon. There's a really cool ledge grab you can try to do at the top. We'll see if I can do it. Oh, a little bit too low. If you do it right, you can break open that block and then also ledge grab up there in the same motion, but my wall jump was a little low. Oops. Picking up a few more items. There's another power bomb pack we're going to stumble upon here. And then we need to get across the moat. If you watched me run any percent, you might have realized it was sort of a difficult trick to get across. But now that we have grapple and even speed booster, we actually have a lot of very easy options to get across the moat. I'm actually going to use grapple because it's a little bit faster to do that instead of sparking. That room is just another example of, you know, the kind of different strategies you can use if you have grapple for most of the run, as opposed to only getting it at the very end. I'm just going to run straight through this room, have my grapple ready, and right as I'm grabbing that missile pack, I will grapple across. Oh no, that's pretty bad. Really? That's not high enough? Alright, now I'll do a Shine Spark, get across here quickly. There's one more sneaky missile pack I need to grab before I fight Phantoon. I can grab it after I fight Phantoon, but I shouldn't, because right now the ship is off, so these the spiky floor and ceiling and the spiky enemy up there right now aren't active, so they won't do any damage when I hit them. If I tried to get that missile pack after I fought Phantoon, all of that would be damaging me, and it's a very stressful room when the power's on. So, good thing I remembered to grab it now. Use a speed ball. Okay. Didn't want to waste a super there. Hopefully I get lucky and get a super during the fight. I'm going to use the same strategy in my any percent run, the Doppler technique, where I use a bunch of missiles on Phantoon and I run into him as I'm shooting them to stun lock him. There we go. Thank you, game. Supers aren't incredibly common drops in this fight, so... Alright, don't think I'll be able to 2-round unless I get a really nice Doppler here on the second round. Oh, I'll settle for 3 again. I tried. Oh, there's another super. Game's being nice. Sometimes when Phantoon opens up, he'll disappear very quickly, and if you're getting hit by flames, it's pretty difficult to hit him with missiles in time. There we go, Phantoon's dead. Really not a threat in 100%. By the time you get here, you'll have various suit, 4 E-tanks, and maybe some energy in your reserve, so it's very unusual to die in this category to that boss. So this is where I'm actually going to get some more super packs. Oops. Wanted to break those blocks. Yeah, there's one super pack here and another one a few rooms over to the left. So this is kind of where like I'm not too worried about supers anymore. But depending on what kind of strategies you use, you could be kind of low towards the end of the game. But usually I have a lot with the strats I do. And the next item I'm going to get actually has one of the most dangerous rooms in this run. I have a lot of energy, so this isn't really scary, but the spiky room of death has taken many lives in this category. This room being filled with water and spikes. If you don't have a lot of energy, it's very easy to take a ton of damage. Those spiky platform enemies, they're actually enemies, do 100 damage with the various suit on. Whoops, that's not what you want to do. And it's not uncommon to, you know, come out of Phantoon with between like 100 and 200 energy. But usually after you grab that energy tank, you're kind of in the clear. You gotta get hit a lot of times to die on the way out. Coming up to the attic, it is a difficult room. It's one of the rooms where you need to defeat all the enemies in the room to proceed. Oh gosh. I didn't really mention this yet, but it's very important that I conserve energy throughout this section. Oh, yeah, that's not good. Oops. Didn't mean pause there. It's very important I conserve energy because I'm gonna need to do a very long Shine Spark after Wreck Ship. And if I don't have enough energy, then I either have to refill, which is pretty slow, or I just have to like bomb through a bunch of blocks and it's super slow. So long story short, I'm gonna try to avoid taking damage wherever I can. Luckily with this route I'm doing, I have an extra E-tank from the Crocomire area that makes this a lot more lenient. So even though I've, taken a lot of hits so far off the enemies, I'll probably be okay. Even if I get very low, I might just have to pop into my reserve tank a little bit. Oh, this is like... I hate this missile pack. Shine Sparking up to get that missile is also an option, but again, that drains energy, which I'm trying to conserve right now. Oh, that didn't look good. Alright, 405. If I remember correctly, I want like 430-ish or something, so this is probably okay. I don't think I'll have to dip in the reserves. We'll see. This next item, not this missile pack, but the reserve tank just after it is pretty much the reason why I need Speed Booster for this area. Going through that bowling Chozo sequence, getting carried through the spikes and all that, takes really long, and having to do that twice just to come back and grab this reserve tank is why we're not doing like our early Wreck Ship, and we're gonna get Speed Booster before we come up here. So with that, that's all the items in the Wreck Ship. There's one more outside in the ocean area I'm gonna grab now that I have the gravity suit, but we will not be coming back to Wreck Ship for the rest of the run. Oops. Might get stuck in the block, we'll see. Probably gonna get stuck in the block. Oh, we beat it, nice. So yeah, we're coming up to the Shine Sparks I was alluding to earlier. This one is kind of a lot of energy, but there's even a bigger one that I'm going to be doing. Yeah, we're at 293, that's plenty of energy. I can afford to do some D-boosts in this room. Oh yeah, we're fine. I'm going to do another wraparound shot. I didn't call it that when I did it earlier. But it's the same principle as that door I opened in the Crocomire room. I'm shooting a door in a off-screen copy of the room that opens up the door I just sparked through. And as you can see, that burned through almost all of my energy. I only had about 30 to spare to get the spark off. Oops, wanna lay that power bomb. This is a very scary room in 100%. I usually play it pretty safe, but you wanna land on the middle of these crumble blocks so you're breaking both sets of them at the same time. If you try to wiggle around like I was doing to go through them quickly, it's very easy to wiggle too far one way and fall off the center and not break all the blocks, and then you'll have to come back later and grab one of those missile packs and you'll be very sad about it. But luckily, didn't have any trouble with that. And I was supposed to pause and take off spacer there to save some frames on the elevator transition. But I usually forget that because normally I already have it off, but I've sort of changed my strategies recently. So we're gonna take off spacer. If you watched the last run and you saw me do X Factors, it's for that reason. By only having the charge beam and wave beam selected, I can do what's called a special beam attack. This one we call the X Factor. Essentially, I'll bring a bunch of wave beam particles on screen and it's gonna help me damage some of the bosses. And I kind of mentioned this earlier, there's a lot of like items locked behind power bombs. So you'll see I needed power bombs to break through the floor in the green Brinstar shaft to get into this area. And in the rest of Pink Brinstar, there's even more items locked by the power bombs, so unfortunately we can't really get all the items in these Brinstar areas in one go without having power bombs. I want to be very careful not to run over some of those suspicious looking blocks. If you run over those with Speed Booster, you'll fall through, and it takes a really long time to fall, and also a significant amount of time to get back up with the Shine Spark. Oops, that didn't break. So, good thing I didn't fall. Okay. Oh my goodness. That's probably not gonna work. So that room was a disaster. Nothing went to plan there, but that's okay. But yeah, there's a lot of item collection here. There's a couple E-tanks. We're actually gonna grab the Spore Spawn supers through the back door, so we don't have to actually fight Spore Spawn in 100%, unfortunately. I know a lot of people are excited to see him, but this will not be one of those times. So by being in a very specific place and having the camera set up in a very specific way, kind of hoping for more supers. I sort of used up a lot of mine that I don't normally use. By being in a very specific spot with the camera and with Samus, I can actually break a super block they normally don't want you to break from that side. This one right here. And I'm gonna finally grab these charge missiles. I have to wait for this power bomb to explode and break these blocks anyways. Oops. And I'll have to get under here, grab that waterway E-tank. Let's try to conserve some supers a little bit. We'll do a shine spark up here. Okay. I was gonna try a strat, but it probably wasn't gonna work. I'm not very practiced with it. I'm gonna lay a power bomb at the start of this room. That's actually gonna preemptively unlock the yellow door at the top of this room. I'm gonna be coming through there later, and it's a little faster just to open it up now. Oh man. I went for a trick called Blockbuster, where you break open that door and do a speedball into here to break those bomb blocks, rather than using a regular bomb like I just did. That's pretty tough strat. But we are in good shape to head into Meridian now. We're gonna be fighting Batwoon and Dragon, also picking up some items along the way, and even more items on the way out. Oops, I forgot what I was doing. Need to do a short charge here, shine spark up, and grab this missile pack. Next, we're going to go to the Mama Turtle area, which has one of my favorite early Croc strats. You'll see it with oh man, you'll see it with the grapple beam here. So if you don't have grapple, normally you would just spark to the top of this room to grab the missile pack that's up there. But with grapple, you can actually do this really cool wall jump and grab the block like so. Or sorry, E-tank that's up here. Missile packs in the wall. We're gonna sneak. Oh no, I didn't get high enough. Gonna sneak up into this little tunnel. Grab another super pack. If I'm really fast, I can actually avoid hitting this crab again. Save some frames. Nope, got hit. There's a lot of strats in this category that, you know, just save like frames if you do them right, and they're pretty difficult. But they really add up over the course of like 70 minutes. Which is really what makes it such a difficult category to get low times on. I activate my speed booster there so I don't get knocked back from some of the enemies hiding in the floor. Oops. Stay away from me. Those guys can ruin your day. Pick up another super pack and missile pack. And this is most of the items we're gonna grab before fighting the bosses. There's one other missile pack we'll get right before Dragon. But we're kind of focused on the bosses now. Oh, I got it. That's a tough mock ball to do. But you can't really see where you are. Oh goodness. Supers have an interesting effect where if you shoot walls and there's enemies hanging on the ceilings or the walls, they'll fall off. And I demonstrated it there when I did not mean to. But here's going to be the first use of the X Factor. There we go. That was much better than any percent one I did. So basically, if you have power bombs selected, and you have charge and one of the other beams equipped, you can do special attacks like that. And this charge wave one is very effective against some of the bosses. Not just these two, but also Ridley in certain categories. This is the missile pack I was talking about earlier. I want to grab before Dragon. This one's easy to forget too. If you don't get it on the way in, there's a very good chance you're not going to get it on the way out. Just because of muscle memory. But yeah, Dragon is going to go pretty much exactly how it went in the 90% run. I'm going to try to use some Shine Sparks to kill her, as well as an X Factor at the start of the fight. Since I do have Grapple, I can, do the Grapple quick kill if I really wanted to. But it's faster to go for this instead. Oh no. Okay. I tried to do a more advanced strategy for that I'm not super experienced with, so it didn't go very well. I had to give it a try. I also got a spike suit, which is really cool. By doing two frame perfect inputs, going into one of those spikes on the walls and trying to activate a shine spark coming out of the damage boost from it, I'm able to use a shine spark wherever I want, and I'm going to use it there. Make this room a little faster. I also picked up the space jump, which basically lets me fly, so we'll be using that quite a bit. And might have thought I forgot about it, but I actually waited to grab this E-Tank until now, as it'll serve as a very nice refill after that Dragon fight. So now there's quite a few items left in Meridia that I need to grab. Unfortunately, the way Meridia is, you kind of have to go through a lot of these rooms multiple times. There's two separate sand pits that you can only enter from one way and exit from another way. So I'll be coming through this room another time to go through both of those sand pits and get all the items inside of them. I'm going to start off with the right sand pit. This one right here. In this one we have a missile and a power bomb, I think. Yeah. And this sand pit's conveniently close to the next set of items I'm going to grab, which are two of the best items in the game, honestly. So, pretty excited to grab those. One of the beauties of getting grapple is you can just break this block and come up through here to get to Shacktool's room. If you don't have grapple, you have to do a kind of difficult ice clip off of one of those Puyos, that enemy I just passed in the last room. Yeah, so getting to this room is pretty free with the grapple beam, and doing that Puyo clip is kind of difficult, so this is definitely the more beginner-friendly route in 100%. Doesn't really require too many fancy tricks. And I'm gonna do a cool strat here where I aggro that snail. Okay, I messed it up. If you do it right, you can actually bait that snail into coming over to break some of the sand for you, so you don't have to wait for Shacktool. But nevertheless, I get through the sand and I'm rewarded with the best item in the game, Spring Ball, which allows you to jump inside your Morph Ball, which can also be used to jump out of Mock Balls and Speed Balls, which is pretty great. Oh, I wanted to shoot that door open. Okay. That room didn't go well. But yeah, Spring Ball, excellent movement item. Also has some great uses in like randomizer. There's a trick called the mid-air spring ball jump you can do with it that you don't really get to see in speedruns, but wonderful item. And speaking of wonderful items, we're gonna come up to the plasma beam now, which is basically an improvement on Spacer in every conceivable way. It really makes Spacer look like a bad beam. It gives you the most damage out of any beam in the game, and that's its main use. It also gives you the ability to pierce enemies, so you can potentially hit them multiple times, which we will be greatly using to our advantage in some of the upcoming sections. Okay, that still kind of worked. So you'll see now when I'm shooting at enemies, my beam won't get absorbed into them. It can actually go through them and hit multiple enemies, or hit the same enemy multiple times if it happens to linger in their hitbox long enough. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Yeah, Plasma and Spring Ball, they are the hidden treasures of Meridia. Very powerful items. Again, we're gonna have to go through some of these rooms a couple times, just because the map isn't very nice for grabbing all the items in one go. Okay, I'm gonna... I'm wasting time to go for this trick, but it's a very cool trick. Oh, I already came up here earlier. Well, that's what I was supposed to do to get those items. I was wondering why, felt like my pace was a little slower than I expected. Now I know why. It's because I got those items early. Yeah, the optimal strat to grab those aqueduct items is to do the strat I just did, which is really cool. But, anyways, we'll pick up our final Meridia items, our third reserve tank up here, and yet another missile pack that I really don't need. But I do have to grab all the items. You end up with a very large excess of missiles in this run. Your total capacity will be 230 by the end of it. which is a lot. And this is a very good time to, oh man, I was hoping I'd get that. This is a great time to come back and get the Kraid missiles now that I have power bombs. You might have remembered, mentioned in this room, there's some power bomb blocks you gotta break, and then you can grab this. Oh, I forgot to open the door. There's a really cool speedball you can do to break through that block without using a bomb, but it's a very tight, short charge you have to do. It's not something I get very often. But now we are returning to Norfair for the last time. We already dealt with Crockmire, so we don't have to go there. But we do need to grab some more items here in Upper Norfair, as well as deal with Ridley. This next section in Lower Norfair is probably my favorite in this whole category. By that point, you just have every single one of Samus's power-ups, and you're extremely OP. Just defeat enemies like it's nothing. Shred bosses like Ridley like he's nothing. It's very, very satisfying gameplay. This missile pack here is kind of a pain. It's really unfortunate when you miss it because all the platforms in this room are crumble blocks, so you might have a long tumble. Fortunately, that didn't happen. And as you can see, Space Jump is a... oh no. I jinxed myself. Space Jump is a really great item for conserving your momentum. A lot of these long and open rooms, you can carry run speed for a very long time using that Space Jump. Oh man, okay. You know what? This is slower than the backup, but... there you go, another lava spark. What I wanted to do was deboost off of that blue viola. And you can actually deboost all the way to the bottom of the pit, and then you can space jump to the top, and it's super fast, but I had to show off and do the slower lava spark because I messed it up. But yeah, again, this section is just, it's great. You really get to utilize all of your movement abilities. You get to just blast through all these super tough enemies that do so much damage. Oh, okay, this room's like a nightmare if you do what I just did. This missile pack is also very scary. All those tiles on the bottom are crumble blocks, so if you have a misstep there, it's not going to end well. You're going to have to come back through and pick them up. Unfortunately, Spring Ball can make it very safe if you want to take it slow. And here's our final major upgrade for Samus, the screw attack. Essentially turns our spin jumps into one of the most powerful attacks in the game. You can't really use it against bosses, but most of the enemies, it'll just shred them immediately on impact, like I just did to those rippers. And you might have heard me talk about the worst room in the game in the any % run I did. And you'll see why it's just kind of another room in the game when you have all this stuff, like space jump and screw attack. That was worst room in the game. Another missile pack here, another one that's kind of easy to forget. You go into any % muscle memory mode. Also, crumble blocks on the bottom of that floor, so another scary missile pack if you're trying to go fast. But there's one more item I'm gonna get before Ridley. That'd be the power bombs of shame. And then it's just kind of item collection on the way to Torian. You might have noticed I went a little bit out of my way to kill all the key hunters in that room. That's because it greatly reduces the lag when you lay power bombs in that room if some or all the enemies are gone. So yeah, that room would have been a lot slower if those enemies had been alive and I laid those power bombs down. These next rooms are really cool if I can pull off these strats. Alright, that one went good. That one should work. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. It's rooms like these that really make this my favorite area of the run. With this beam combo, Ridley is only 20 shots, so I'm like already over a quarter of the way through the fight. It's very fast with that full beam combo. Oops. Okay. That's not what you want to happen. Yeah, just like that, Ridley's done. I'm gonna need to grab his E-tank back here, whether I want to or not. Yeah, like I said, all the bosses, are done to get us into Torian, but we're just gonna be picking up a lot of the extra items we skipped over on the way up there. There's not too many left in Lower Norfair. We did leave quite a few behind in Upper Norfair. There we go. That's the speedball I was trying to do last run. Much faster when you get that. Alright, Firefleet E-Tank. This is a neat strat. You shoot down and freeze this Firefleet right here, and you can deboost off of the one next to me right now and land on the frozen one. Oh, well, you can do it. I didn't do it, but you can do it. And we'll see if I can get this really cool strat called the Hodorubi Special I probably jumped a little too late. If you can get a speed ball up into this missile and then use your spring ball to jump up, you can break these blocks up here without bombs. And it's pretty fast. But like I said, my jump was a little late, so it didn't work out. Oops. Yeah, if you watched the any percent run earlier, you'll know I really talked up this room and how scary and dangerous it is. And with this equipment, it is just a joke. The enemies do not phase you at all. You can just screw attack right into them. And that is all the items in Lower Norfair. Still have some in Upper Norfair we need to deal with. Oh man. That hurts missing that D-boost. Our final reserve tank is back here. I think I mentioned earlier there's 4 of them total. There's our final reserve tank. And just a lot of ammo. Out of ammo from here on out. One more E-tank. And also X-ray. Who could forget X-ray? X-ray, you know, you don't use it very much in most speed runs. At least the no major glitch categories, but it can help you not soft lock sometimes too, 100%. That's a really cool strat, by the way, that I didn't talk about at all. But using spring ball to position yourself and do a nice D boost to get across the room. But that is it for Norfair. Next up, we're going to grab that X-ray and then just sort of work our way back through the Brinstar and Criteria areas, picking up the last of the items we need. One of the really big advantages of doing Croc late in the run is... oh, didn't want to bounce there. You can get a spike suit from the Croc fight. And so basically you can just have like a free shine spark coming into this X-ray room. And as you can see, this is a very long room, and being able to shine spark through here would be a lot faster than what I'm doing right now. But unfortunately, I don't have the option, so I just have to space jump through. I'm gonna try to do a cool trick here. We'll see if I can do it. If you unmorph on the right frame there, oops, you can actually like keep your dash speed, even though you landed on a spike, and normally you would like lose your momentum doing that. And it looks really goofy, but it's really cool. I'm going to attempt a really awesome spring ball trick here. We'll see. Okay. If you can do some very precise spring ball jumping, you can actually make it all the way up this room. I'm just spring balling up those platforms, but okay. That's what I should have done in the first place, but trying to show off all the cool tech. I mentioned there's more items over here at the start of the run. This is the time where we're gonna get them. There's our last E-tank. You also can't get them without power bombs too. That's another reason you can't really do these ones early. The Billy Mays items up here. Oh, nice! I got the bounce. We call this room the Billy Mays room because there is one missile pack here, but wait, there's more. That is kind of a common thing in a lot of these rooms though, where you'll find a missile pack and then there's like another one just in a random wall or tile. But that one ended up becoming the Billy Mays room for some reason. Oh, run the speedball through there. Cool thing about elevators is going on an elevator does not reduce your shine spark timer, so if I go up the elevator with the shine spark ready, I'll still be able to do it by the time I get off a really long elevator like that. And it makes that room really easy. It's not the fastest strat, but it's very easy with the shine spark. That's very common for a lot of the rooms in this category. Shine sparking makes a lot of them very easy. This room here, I'm going to try to freeze those yellow guys so I have some room to activate my speed booster, do a shine spark, pick up our last super missile of the run, and then we're going to come up to our last missile pack, the 230 missiles, or the 230 missiles, some call it. So if I did my job correctly, this is the 100th fanfare we've heard. I guess it's the 101st fanfare because the Edacoons back in Green Brinstar actually kind of hummed the fanfare song. So hopefully I did pick up all the items. I guess we won't really know for sure until the credits are over, but I have a good feeling. So, while I wait for these statues to go out and for my path to Torian to open up, usually I like to practice bomb jumps in here. Doing these horizontal bomb jumps are a little tricky. But here we go, heading into Torian. Torian has some really difficult strats. At least the optimal strats are very difficult. I'm gonna try my best. But if I do them right, a lot of these rooms are just gonna fly by. Alright, that one went good. That one went good. Oh man, that's like the coolest one. Almost had it. Okay, this one's not going great. Oh, unfortunately I am very low on supers, so that's actually going to slow me down quite a bit. I'm going to have to use a lot of regular missiles on Mother Brain 1 to make up for the supers I don't have. Which is a bummer. But we will carry on. There's a very difficult version of the baby skip where you... Oh no! Okay. Well... I should have paused and took off my Various suit. For some reason, when you have Various suit off, the baby will drain your health a lot faster. So in 100%, when you have a lot of health and you get grabbed like that, you'll want to pause and take it off. Unfortunately, I didn't really react that quickly, so kind of wasn't worth it, but anyways. Because I got grabbed by the baby, I'm going to have to refill my energy, which will cost us some time. I'm gonna try to do a Zeb or a speed booster Zeb skip here. If this doesn't go well, I'm probably just gonna I'm just gonna go for the ice one. You can either do what I just did and clip on a frozen enemy like that to break through that barrier, or you can spark through with a diagonal spark. Unfortunately, I messed up the spark though. And you can't do that ice step skip with screw attack on, so I had to do an extra menu and take it off. There's actually another kind of Zeb skip called the Spring Ball Zeb skip, which I prefer to do. But I didn't really have the supers for that to be a good idea, because you need to break the first Zeb. But anyways, similar to Ridley, this is a super quick fight. 20 charge shots, it's basically over before you're done talking about it. There it is, catch-up beam, already at 25% health left, and it's over. Now I'm going to do what's called the stand-up glitch. By being at somewhere between 700 and 800 energy and getting hit by Mother Brain's rainbow beam attack, I can actually stand up, damage myself down to under 100, and it'll start this cutscene sequence with the baby, but I am not stuck to the ground like I'm supposed to be. So while I'm not stuck to the ground, I can actually damage Mother Brain's third phase before it even starts. So if I do this right, I'll actually only have to do one Hyper Beam shot to finish off Mother Brain 3. So we'll see how good I can do this stand up. It's very important I stay in the air when the baby first latches off like that. The game will check to make sure you're stuck in the ground shortly after it detaches. So I sort of you know, stopped shooting for a moment to make sure I was in the air for that. Unfortunately, I've missed a few shots so far, so I'm probably gonna need more than one. Oh yeah, I'm missing a ton now. You can actually speed up the cutscene too by letting the baby detach in a certain spot. You saw I kind of went over to the right there and stopped shooting. Oh. Yeah, you don't want to do that. When the game is giving you the hyper beam, if there's any beam shots on the screen, the game will like freeze like it just did, and Mother Brain will lose part of her body. Normally that's like a soft lock, but we found out there's ways to bring the game back to normal. What I did was just kind of hold the item deselect button, and eventually it just sort of returned to normal. But that was Mother Brain 3. I'm gonna do another little blue bomber trick similar to the one I did in Aqueduct for no reason. And I forgot I didn't have screw attack on, so that messed up that strat. Oh, never want to bonk that door. One last shine spark up the climb, and we are just a few platforms away from finishing out another Super Metroid run. And that is it. Hopefully I got 100% of the items, and we've completed a 100% item collection run. So unless you know, someone was tracking very diligently, we really won't know for sure that I got all the items until that item collection percentage pops up during the credits. So I'm assuming we'll let the credits play out, and we'll verify for sure, and then we'll move on to the next runs in the marathon. But before we get till then, I just want to say thank you for letting me showcase some Super Metroid runs for you guys. I had a lot of fun. Both these categories are pretty fun. Very fun speed game in general. Thank you, SpeedGaming, for putting on this marathon as a whole. The runs I've caught have been very entertaining, as the Metroid Marathon always has been. I guess it's the Metroidvania one this time. But yeah, thank you everyone. I appreciate it. Hope you all have a good night and you enjoy the rest of the Metroidvania Marathon.